Okay, here we are in Aspen, Colorado, and a lot of people come here. We just after New Year's, and we've got a lot of snow here today. But even though this is a resort ski town, they don't have all the bells and whistles. I put together a video of that. There is no Starbucks in Aspen earlier if you want to take a look at that. But today we're going to talk about Apple and iPhones and an Apple store, which there is not one here in Aspen. Which is something I took for granted because coming from Hawaii, we literally had 3 Apple stores within 5 to 10 minutes from our house. One at Kahala Mall, one at Ala Moana, and the third being in Waikiki. Granted, we are on an island, we had 3 Apple stores. Oh, I take that back. There used to be a third one in Waikiki, but it looks like they shut down. I have an old phone, and so if you're in town and you're on holiday, my kids have been making fun of me for years. This thing is an SE. I didn't want to give it my button, but I think it's about time for a new phone. It's starting to crack a little bit. And then what happens if you have your computer and you want to get it serviced on? Is there an Apple store here? Well, we're going to go on a little bit of a wild goose chase, spoiler alert, today to see what the alternatives are here in Aspen, Colorado. Okay, since we found out that there is no Apple store in Aspen, the next workaround here is trying to find out who your carrier is. And since I have AT&T, I heard there's an AT&T store here next to Clark's Supermarket. There's a corner here. But now it's looking like they might not be there anymore. So I think we gotta head down to Basalt because that's where I think the closest AT&T store is gonna be. So I went online and found out there's an AT&T store at Willits in Basalt. Okay, it's a Sunday. We drove all the way down to Basalt because the one next to Clark's Market in Aspen is closed permanently. And we're at an AT&T store here in Basalt and it's closed. It's a Sunday, even though online it said it was gonna be open. So now we got to venture even further down valley if we want to get ourselves a new iPhone. Well, it turns out there's lots of options at the Glenwood Springs shopping mall. They have numerous cell phone carriers. As you saw, there's T-Mobile here, and they've also got Verizon and Xfinity. And then as we come around the corner, there is an AT&T store as well as Verizon, which stretches through both sides, as I mentioned. Okay, here we are in Glenwood Springs. We came all the way down valley since there's no longer an AT&T store in Aspen nor Basalt, and we're here on a Sunday, and we're gonna finally get a new iPhone. Okay, believe it or not, the only phones that they had at the AT&T store were orange, but it's a hard no and there'd be a hard pass for me on an orange iPhone. So we walked over here to Target because they sell iPhones, but guess what? They're completely out of stock. Granted, we're in early January, right after Christmas, but it's kind of crazy. The wild goose hunt continues. Now we're gonna head over to Walmart. Now we'll see if 5th time is a charm. Now we're at Walmart here in Glenwood Springs and see if they got a new iPhone. Well, you're not going to believe it. 5th time was definitely not a charm. Walmart, although they did have iPhones, in their defense, they have a quote-unquote AT&T specialist, and the lady literally left an hour before we got there. So we're SOL on finding an iPhone here today. The reason why I've got a smile on my face is because it was a life lesson I taught my daughter, who was on this hunt with me, that sometimes in the business of real estate, I'm out for days on end with buyers with nothing to show for it where they haven't found a home yet. So we're going to continue our search here. And since I have to fly back to Honolulu for business, I might have to continue my search there. Okay, now after 5 attempts, we started with the old AT&T store in Aspen, then went down to the Basalt, which the AT&T store was closed. Then we ventured on to Glenwood Springs where we could only find orange iPhones, and then we went to Target, and then 5th Walmart, none of which could get a new iPhone. At Walmart, in their defense, there was one AT&T person that works there, and she left an hour prior to us getting there. So here I am back in Honolulu. I'm back here on a work trip at Kahala Mall, and inside of Kahala Mall there is not only an Apple store, but there's an AT&T store as well. So I'm finally gonna hopefully get my new iPhone today. So here we're at Kahala Mall. It's an indoor mall. It's been around for decades, since I was a kid. And like I mentioned earlier in the videos, there is no Starbucks in Aspen. We take things for granted here in Hawaii. There's a Macy's here, but there's actually 2 Starbucks. There's a drive-through and there's another one that's gonna be inside of the mall. Kahala was actually home to Jack Lord, who is famous for Hawaii Five-0. Here's a Jack Lord statue here at Kahala Mall, and he lived right around the corner at the Kahala Beach Apartments. But since this segment is not on Hawaii real estate, it's on Aspen. Let's continue on. But before we do, not only did Jack Lord have a fascination with Hawaii, his co-star James MacArthur, who played Dano, had a big fascination with Aspen and is known to spend lots of time in Aspen over the years. And there's always been a big Aspen-Hawaii connection. And although Aspen doesn't have an Apple store nor a Starbucks, there's a lot of reasons why people love Aspen and why I love Aspen as well. So to learn more about real estate in Aspen, Colorado, or here in Honolulu, Hawaii, feel free to reach out and give me a call at 808-371-3509. Aloha. Now let's venture into the mall to see if I could finally get myself an iPhone. Here we are at an Apple store in Kahala Mall, and here's that interior Starbucks that I'd mentioned, and they actually do have an AT&T that is not only open, but stocked full of iPhones. Okay, we're back in Aspen, Colorado. I finally got my new iPhone 17 after that wild goose chase. Although there is no Apple store here in Aspen, as we all know, Aspen has got a lot of things going for it. The X Games is going on right now. And if you have any questions about real estate here in Aspen, feel free to give me a call at 808-371-3509. Mahalo.